this is a tutorial on how to analyze Kahoot reports. So after you have gone into Kahoot and your students have responded to an assessment that you played, you are going to be given assessment data. In order to locate this assessment data, you would click on your name up here in the top right. You would also click My Results, and then it would take you to a screen similar to this, showing all the different assessments that you have had a chance to give your students. And I have the same assessment given multiple times because I'm a technology coach and I serve 62 different teachers. So each time I'm in a different classroom and I present that assessment, then I have a record of that assessment. So that's why I have the same one multiple times. I just clicked on the download button down here in the left corner of my screen. I will readjust the screen so that you can see it. Down in that bottom corner, you can see how that Excel file was just downloaded. So if I click on the Excel file, it launches Excel and it opens the document that I just asked it to open. I'm going to show you the tabs along the bottom because I'm going to reference these tabs in just a bit. Overall, final score, question summary, etc. And maybe you didn't notice how I clicked on, I tended to call it the snowman, this vertical ... I call a snowman. And if you click on it and then drag left and right, then you can reveal all the different tabs that are available to you in any report. I'm going to move my recording box up so that you can see up here on the top how enable editing is an option. If you want to modify the documents at all before you print them, you would choose enable editing. Otherwise, the information is pretty much locked and you can't make any changes to that. And I mention that for more than one reason. If I choose print on my screen right here, the data is frozen and I'm unable to print it until I click on enable printing. And then likewise, I have an opportunity to print it once I have clicked on that particular button over there. If I want to save this to my computer, I would choose File followed by Save, and then I would save it in a specific location. So those are the main points up there. Let me adjust this down a little bit so that you can see the tabs at the bottom. If I am unable to see everything that I want to see very clearly, the other thing that you would want to adjust would be located down here in this right-hand corner. I'm at 100% visibility right now. If I want to increase that for some reason and zoom in on something, I can. Quite frankly, zooming out is a little bit more effective for me. But if you zoom out too far and then need to zoom back in all over again, you would use those tools down there. So the overview indicates that 95.59% of all questions were answered correctly. The remaining 4.41% of all of the answers in total were answered incorrectly. I'll zoom in just in case this is too hard for you to see. So on October 3rd, I gave this assessment. The title is located here. There were 26 total players. There were 9 total questions. Final scores can be located here. If I want to use the data in the gradebook, I can. And the child's name is located here. Correct answers are located here. If for some reason I wanted to have a bulletin board on display where particular students have high scores in Kahoot, if I wanted to design a competition of some kind, if for some reason you want the score that Kahoot gave each child, that would be located here in the Final Scores tab. I find that the question summary tab is extraordinarily effective for me. Not only does it shape my instruction as a teacher after I provide a lesson, and I'm looking at that assessment data, I have an opportunity to evaluate my teaching and whether or not I presented the information in an effective way so that my students were able to have access to the content or curriculum. In a post-lesson reflection like this, I have the opportunity to ask myself whether or not I presented the information well. And I can go along and I can look to see if there are any red bands in here that indicate that a child didn't learn or understand something. Now, Now, I don't necessarily want to take 100% credit for something that could be a deficit in the child not paying attention well, but ultimately this gives me an opportunity to figure out who will need reteaching, who might need small group intervention, who might need differentiated instruction, and who might need reteaching. And question 7 sort of raises a flag for me because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 students who didn't get that answer to that question correctly. When it is time to sign out of my computer, I should, and a number of the students chose the option of closing the lid first. And I would say that closing the lid first is not the right thing to do. They need to sign out of the computer. So it could have been impulsive on their part. Maybe they didn't read all of the options to determine the best answer. And then I could probably just ask them in a face-to-face Q&A, then turn around and use that as a reassessment. Can you explain to me the process of signing out of the computer? What should we do first and why is that important? And maybe I don't even need to do an entire reteaching lesson. Maybe I don't need to have small group instruction. Maybe just that small conversation would clarify the child's understanding on that particular situation. Right here I have 3 answers total that were not provided for this particular question. Maybe the students were confused by that question and they just didn't feel like they had enough time to answer that one. And then I've got students over here, 3 different students who may not have had enough time to answer those particular questions. So a tool like this gives me an opportunity to quickly and effectively figure out who answered what question and how it was answered. All of this data is given to me immediately. And using this data, I can figure out who might be a part of who might need to receive some additional instruction in order to further understand whatever concept they might not understand. So this was the question summary. Now, each individual question also has its own report over here. I'm also given an opportunity to see how long it took the child to make the decision and choose their answer. If for some reason I need information like that, maybe an SST or an IEP, or if parents are asking how their child is doing in a specific area, maybe that data would be useful for me. If I find that the child is consistently responding to the questions used and needing a lot of time, one question that I might ask is, does that child need to sit closer to the board? Is distance a factor at play in their response time? So all of this information is located down here. This bar over here lets me scoot to the left and the right in any individual report. I already explained this to you as it keeps going. In order to navigate from tab to tab, you can also use this set of arrows over here, and it would let you turn around and advance to and fro. That's the end of my tutorial. I hope it was helpful to you, and I hope that you use these reports to drive student instruction. Have a great day.